Chapter 1. Arjun's Long Day. Mumbai never sleeps, but Arjun Deshpande wished it would, just for a moment, so he could breathe. It was 11:47 p.m. when he stepped out of his office in Lower Parel, shoulders slumped, laptop bag digging into his skin. The security guard gave him a sympathetic nod. Arjun had become a familiar sight, the last man leaving, the first one returning. He checked his phone. 12 missed calls from his mother, 2 from his landlord, 1 from his boss, marked urgent. He sighed. Perfect. The streets were quieter now, but the city still hummed, autos honking, distant trains screeching, food vendors packing up. Arjun jogged toward the station, hoping he hadn't missed the last local to Thane. He had. The indicator board blinked mockingly. Last local, 12:10 a.m., CST to Thane. He had 15 minutes. Arjun leaned against a pillar, exhausted. His life felt like a train, running on the wrong track. Fast, loud, and going nowhere. He thought of his mother waiting at home, reheating dinner for the third time. He thought of the rent he still hadn't paid. He thought of the promotion his boss kept promising, but never giving. When the train finally rolled in, nearly empty, Arjun stepped inside. The compartment smelled of metal, old newspapers, and the faint scent of someone's perfume. The fluorescent lights flickered like they were tired too. Arjun sat by the window, letting the cool night air hit his face. He didn't know it yet, but this train ride, this one random, unlucky ride, was about to change everything. Because he wasn't alone. At the far end of the compartment, 5 strangers sat scattered, each lost in their own world, and each carrying a story that would collide with his before the night ended. Chapter 2. The Strangers. The last local rattled out of CST, its wheels screeching like they too were tired of the day. Arjun adjusted his seat, stretching his legs across the empty bench. He thought he'd spend the ride half asleep, staring at the blur of streetlights outside. But the universe had other plans, because the 5 strangers in the compartment were anything but ordinary. 1. The nurse. She sat closest to Arjun. Blue scrubs, hair tied in a messy bun, eyes red from exhaustion. Her ID card read, Nisha Fernandez, Sion Hospital. She kept rubbing her temples, whispering something under her breath. A prayer? A memory? A regret? Her phone buzzed. She looked at the screen, flinched, and turned it face down. Arjun noticed her hands trembling. The college boy. Opposite her sat a skinny boy in a hoodie, barely 20. He kept glancing at the door, then at the small cloth bag on his lap. Every few minutes, he'd unzip it slightly, peek inside, then zip it back up. His knee bounced non-stop. He wasn't scared of the night. He was scared of being caught. The retired railway guard. In the corner, leaning on his walking stick, was an elderly man with a thick mustache and a cap that looked older than Arjun. He hummed an old Kishore Kumar tune, tapping his stick in rhythm with the train tracks. His eyes were sharp, too sharp for someone his age. He watched everyone, especially the boy with the bag. The crying woman. Near the door sat a woman in a yellow sari, wiping her tears with the edge of her palu. She wasn't sobbing loudly, just silent, steady tears that refused to stop. Her bangles jingled every time she wiped her face. She looked like someone who had lost something, or someone. The man with the briefcase. And then there was him. Black suit, black shoes, black expression. He sat stiffly, clutching a metal briefcase to his chest, like it contained his heartbeat. He didn't blink much, he didn't move much. He didn't look like someone who should be on a local train at midnight. He looked like someone who should be followed by background music. The first interaction. The train rocked gently as it crossed Masjid station. Arjun tried to ignore the tension in the air, but it was impossible. The nurse suddenly stood up, swaying slightly. "Water?" she asked, voice hoarse. Arjun handed her his bottle. "Long shift?" he asked. She nodded. 30 hours. Before he could respond, the college boy muttered, 30 hours, that's illegal. The nurse gave a tired smile. So is half the city. Beta, in Mumbai, even the laws are tired. The crying woman sniffled. The man with the briefcase didn't react at all. A strange moment. As the train approached Baikula, the lights flickered once. Then again. The nurse looked up. That's odd. The guard frowned. Not odd. Unusual. The college boy clutched his bag tighter. The crying woman froze mid-tear. The man with the briefcase finally moved, just enough to glance at the ceiling. Arjun felt a chill crawl up his spine. Something was off. Very off. The first hint of trouble. The train slowed down. Too early. Too suddenly. The guard tapped his stick. This isn't a scheduled slowdown. The nurse whispered, Is there a signal failure? The boy shook his head. No, this is something else. The crying woman looked around nervously. The man with the briefcase tightened his grip. Arjun leaned forward. What's happening? The guard answered quietly. Son, I worked 35 years on these tracks. He paused. This train is stopping where no train should ever stop. H1, Strong. Chapter 3, The Sudden Halt. The last local groaned as it rolled past Baikula. The night outside thick and silent. Mumbai's usual roar faded behind them, replaced by the rhythmic clatter of wheels on tracks. Then, the lights flickered. Once, twice, a long, uneasy pause, and the train shuddered to a stop. Not at a station, not even near one. Just in the middle of the dark. H2, a silence that didn't belong. For a moment, no one spoke. Even the fans slowed, whining like they were being strangled. The compartment dimmed to a sickly yellow glow. Arjun leaned forward. Signal failure? The retired guard shook his head. Signals don't fail like this, not on this stretch. The nurse swallowed hard. So what does this mean? The guard didn't answer, because he didn't know. And that scared everyone more than any explanation. H2, no network, no help, no way out. The college boy immediately pulled out his phone. No network, he muttered. The crying woman checked hers. Mine too. Arjun tried his. Nothing. The nurse tried to lighten the mood. Maybe it's just a temporary glitch. The guard's voice was low. Beta, this area is a dead zone. Even railway walkie-talkies don't work here. The boy's knee started bouncing again. The man with the briefcase didn't move at all, just stared straight ahead, jaw clenched. The darkness outside. Arjun peered out the window. Pitch black. No streetlights, no houses, no passing trains. Just an endless stretch of nothing. The kind of darkness that felt alive. The kind that watched you back. A faint breeze rustled through the broken window pane, carrying the smell of wet earth and something metallic. Something wrong. The first sound, a thud, soft, distant, from outside. Everyone froze. Another thud. Closer. The crying woman whimpered. What was that? The guard gripped his walking stick. Could be anything. A loose track plate, a stray animal. The boy whispered, That didn't sound like an animal. The nurse moved closer to Arjun. Why is it so dark outside? Even the emergency lights on the tracks aren't on. The guard's eyes narrowed. Because the power isn't out. He pointed upward. The fans are still running. Arjun felt a chill. If the power wasn't out, then why had the train stopped? The man with the briefcase speaks. For the first time since boarding, the man in the black suit finally spoke. His voice was calm. Too calm. This train didn't stop because of a technical issue. Everyone turned to him. The nurse asked, Then why did it stop? He looked at each of them slowly, deliberately. As far as I know, he paused. Someone wanted it to. The boy gasped. The woman covered her mouth. The guard's grip tightened. Arjun felt his heartbeat in his throat. "What do you mean?" The man didn't answer. Instead, he placed the metal briefcase on his lap and locked both hands over it, as if protecting something or preparing for something. The train creaked, shifting slightly on the tracks. The lights flickered again. The guard whispered, "Everyone stay seated. Don't panic." But his voice trembled, because he knew something the others didn't. Something he finally said out loud. "In 35 years of service, only 2 trains have ever stopped here." He looked at the dark outside, and both times, something bad happened. Chapter 4. Truths Unfold. The train sat frozen on the tracks, wrapped in a darkness so complete it felt like a living thing. The compartment lights flickered weakly, casting long, trembling shadows across the faces of the 6 passengers. Everyone was silent, until the retired guard spoke. "Since we're stuck here," he said, voice steady but eyes sharp, "we should know who we're sharing this compartment with." It wasn't a suggestion. It was a warning. One by one, the strangers began to reveal the truths they had been hiding. 1. The nurse's secret. Nisha took a deep breath. "I'm not just returning from a long shift," she said quietly. "I lost a patient today." Her voice cracked. "A little girl, 7 years old, dengue. We tried everything." She wiped her eyes. "I stayed back to talk to her mother. She kept asking me why her daughter didn't make it. I didn't have an answer." The crying woman sniffled harder. Arjun felt a lump in his throat. But the nurse wasn't done. "And then I got a call from my brother. My father collapsed at home. I'm trying to reach Thane to get him to the hospital." Her hands trembled. "I don't know if he's still alive." The compartment fell silent. Even the man with the briefcase looked at her for a moment, just a flicker of sympathy, before returning to his cold stare. 2. The college boy's confession. The guard turned to the boy next. "Your turn, Beta." The boy swallowed hard. "My name is Samir. I study in Dadar." He clutched the cloth bag on his lap. I didn't steal anything, okay?" No one had accused him, which made the statement even more suspicious. "What's in the bag?" Arjun asked gently. Samir hesitated, then unzipped it just enough for them to see. Inside was a stack of cash bundles. Fresh, crisp, tightly packed. The nurse gasped. The crying woman covered her mouth. The guard leaned forward. "Where did you get that?" he demanded. Samir's voice shook. "I work part-time at a courier shop. A man came in today with this bag. He said he'd be back in 10 minutes. He never returned." He looked around nervously. "I waited for hours. I panicked. I didn't know what to do. So I took the bag home." "Why bring it on the train?" Samir whispered. "Because someone started following me." 3. The crying woman's pain. The guard nodded toward the woman in the yellow sari. She wiped her tears and spoke softly. "My name is Kavita. I'm going to Thane to file a missing person report." "Missing?" the nurse asked. Kavita nodded. "My husband. He left for work 2 days ago. Never came back." Her voice trembled. "The police said he might have run away. But he wouldn't. He's not like that." She clutched her handbag tightly. "I got a call tonight. A man said he saw my husband near this railway line." Her eyes filled again. He sounded scared, and then the call cut. A chill ran through the compartment. 4. The retired guard's warning. The guard tapped his stick. "My name is Shashank Rao. 35 years in the railways. I've seen everything. Accidents, suicides, robberies, derailments." He looked out into the darkness. "But this stretch, this exact spot, is cursed." Samir gulped. "Cursed how?" Shashank's voice dropped. "Trains don't stop here. Not unless something forces them to." He pointed outside. 2 years ago a train halted here. A passenger went missing. Never found. The nurse shivered. "And 5 years before that," he continued, "another train stopped. A briefcase was found on board." He looked at the man in the suit. A metal one. Everyone turned to him. 5. The man with the briefcase finally speaks. He exhaled slowly. My name is Vikram. He placed the briefcase on the seat beside him. And I'm not supposed to be on this train. Arjun frowned. Then why are you? Vikram hesitated, then said, because someone is trying to kill me. The compartment froze. The nurse gasped. Samir clutched his bag. Kavita covered her mouth. The guard's eyes widened. Arjun leaned forward. Why would someone want to kill you? Vikram tapped the briefcase. Because of what's inside this. He paused. And because I wasn't supposed to survive tonight. The final blow. Before anyone could respond, a loud bang echoed from outside the train. Close, too close. The lights flickered violently. The train shook. And then, footsteps. Slow, heavy, approaching the compartment door. Someone, or something, was out there. Chapter 5. The Missing Passenger. The footsteps outside grew louder, slow, heavy, deliberate. Each thud vibrated through the metal floor of the compartment. No one breathed. The train sat in the middle of a dead silent stretch, wrapped in darkness so thick it felt like a blanket pressed against the windows. And something, or someone, was walking right beside it. The first disappearance. A sudden metallic clang echoed from the adjoining compartment. Everyone jumped. Samir clutched his bag of cash. Nisha grabbed Arjun's arm. Kavita covered her mouth to stop a scream. Shashank, the retired guard, stood up despite his trembling knees. But Vikram, the man with the briefcase, didn't move. He just whispered, "It's starting." Arjun turned to him. "What's starting?" Vikram didn't answer. Instead, he pointed toward the far end of the compartment. "Count." Arjun frowned. "Count what?" "The passengers." Arjun looked around. Nisha, Samir, Kavita, Shashank, Vikram, himself. 6. But something felt wrong, very wrong. Arjun's eyes widened. "Where's the 7th passenger?" Everyone froze. Because they all remembered it now. When the train left CST, there had been one more person in the compartment. A man in a brown jacket, middle-aged, quiet, sitting near the door. He hadn't spoken, he hadn't moved much, but he had been there. And now he was gone. The guard's realization. Shashank's face drained of color. "No, no, no, not again." Nisha whispered, "What do you mean, again?" Shashank swallowed. 2 years ago, when a train stopped here, a passenger disappeared. Just like this. No one saw him leave, no one heard anything. Samir's voice cracked. "What happened to him?" Shashank shook his head. "They never found him." Kavita whimpered. "My husband. The caller said he saw him near this line. What if—" She couldn't finish. Arjun tried to steady his voice. Maybe he moved to another compartment, but even he didn't believe that. Because the adjoining compartment door was still locked from the inside, and the windows were sealed. There was no way out. The footsteps returned. The footsteps outside came again, this time slower, as if whoever or whatever was circling the train was choosing. The lights flickered violently. Samir whispered, "Why is this happening? Why here?" Vikram finally spoke, "Because this train wasn't supposed to stop." Arjun snapped, "You keep saying that. Why? What do you know?" Vikram looked at the briefcase, then at the door, then at the darkness outside. "I know that the man who disappeared wasn't taken at random." Nisha's voice trembled. "Taken? By who?" Vikram exhaled. "Not who." He pointed outside. "What?" The compartment fell silent. Everyone stared at the door. The metal handle twitched. Once, twice, then slowly, it began to turn. Kavita screamed. Samir dropped his bag. Nisha grabbed the emergency hammer. Shashank raised his walking stick like a weapon. Arjun stepped in front of them all. The handle turned fully. The door slid open. Just an inch. Just enough for cold air to rush in. Just enough for a shadow to fall across the floor. A long, distorted shadow. Not shaped like a human. Not shaped like anything they recognized. The lights flickered, and the shadow vanished. The door slammed shut. Hard. The aftermath. Everyone stood frozen, breathing hard, shaking, terrified. Arjun finally whispered, "What was that?" Vikram answered without hesitation, "The reason this train stopped." He tapped the briefcase. "And the reason I'm being hunted." Samir's voice cracked. "What's in that case?" Vikram looked at him, then at all of them, and said, something that should never have been created. The final blow of the chapter. Before anyone could ask more, a scream echoed from the next compartment. A man's scream. Raw, terrified, cut short. Then silence. Complete, suffocating silence. Shashank whispered, "God help us. There's more than one missing passenger now." Chapter 6. The briefcase opens. The scream from the next compartment faded into a suffocating silence. No one moved. No one dared to. The last local sat dead on the tracks, wrapped in darkness, as if the night itself was holding its breath. Inside, 6 terrified passengers stared at one another, and at the metal briefcase that suddenly felt like the most dangerous object in the world. The aftershock of the scream. Samir was the first to speak, voice trembling. That didn't sound human." Nisha whispered, "It sounded like someone being dragged." Kavita clutched her sari tightly. "My God, what if that was my husband?" Shashank, the retired guard, shook his head. No, that voice was younger. Arjun swallowed hard. "We need to check the next compartment." Vikram, the man with the briefcase, finally stood up. "No." Arjun glared at him. "People are dying. We can't just sit here." Vikram's voice was calm. Too calm. "If you open that door, none of us will survive." The briefcase becomes the center. Samir pointed at the metal case. "Then tell us what's inside that thing. You keep saying we're in danger because of it." Vikram hesitated. Then slowly, he placed the briefcase on the floor. Everyone leaned in. The case was heavy, far heavier than it looked. Thick steel, reinforced edges. 2 combination locks. Arjun asked, "What's in it?" Vikram exhaled. "Proof." "Proof of what?" Nisha asked. Vikram looked at the door. "Proof that what's outside isn't human." A chill ran through the compartment. The locks click open. Vikram knelt beside the case. "I wasn't supposed to open this. Not here, not like this." Shashank stepped closer. "Open it, now." Vikram nodded. He entered the first code. Click. He entered the second. Click. The locks released. Everyone held their breath. Vikram slowly lifted the lid, and the compartment filled with a cold, metallic glow. What's inside? Inside the briefcase lay a thick stack of classified documents, a small black device with blinking blue lights, a sealed vial containing a strange, shimmering liquid, a photograph, burned at the edges. Samir whispered, "What? What is all this?" Vikram picked up the photograph first. It showed a railway tunnel, pitch black, with a distorted shadow at the entrance. A shadow shaped like the one they had seen earlier. Nisha covered her mouth. "Is that real?" Vikram nodded. "This photo was taken 3 days ago. By a railway engineer." Arjun asked, "Where is he now?" Vikram's silence was the answer. The truth about the device. Vikram lifted the small black device. "This is a tracker." Shashank frowned. "Tracker for what?" Vikram pointed at the blinking blue light. "For the thing that's outside." Samir backed away. "You mean it's following us?" Vikram nodded. "It's attracted to electromagnetic fields. The train's power, the metal, the movement." Arjun's voice hardened. "Then why did the train stop?" Vikram looked at him. "Because the creature forced it to." The vial. Kavita pointed at the shimmering liquid. What is that? Vikram hesitated. This is the only thing that can stop it. Nisha whispered. A chemical? Vikram shook his head. Not exactly. It's biological. Arjun frowned. Biological? As in? Before he could finish, the train shook violently. Everyone stumbled, and then a loud metallic bang hit the side of the compartment. Hard, as if something enormous had slammed into it. Kavita screamed. Samir dropped to the floor. Shashank raised his stick. Nisha grabbed the emergency hammer. Arjun shouted, "What is that thing?" Vikram finally answered, "It's not an animal, not a ghost, not a person." He closed the briefcase halfway. It's an experiment. The final revelation of the chapter. Another bang. Closer. Stronger. The metal wall dented inward. Something was trying to break in. Vikram whispered, "The government created it." The compartment fell silent. And now it's loose. Another bang, and it wants the vial. The wall dented again, and if it gets in, he looked at all of them. None of us will see the morning. Chapter 7. The Real Danger. The metal wall of the compartment bulged inward, groaning under the force of whatever was outside. Everyone stumbled back, huddling together as the last local trembled on the tracks. The creature wasn't trying to scare them anymore. It was trying to break in. The train turns against them. The lights flickered violently, bright white, then sickly yellow, then almost pitch black. The fans slowed to a crawl. The air grew thick, humid, suffocating. Samir whispered, "It's draining the power, isn't it?" Vikram nodded. "That's how it hunts. It feeds on electromagnetic energy. The train is like a beacon to it." Arjun clenched his fists. Then why stop the train? Why not attack while it was moving? Vikram's voice was grim. Because it needed the train to be still. It can't latch on to fast-moving metal. Nisha swallowed. So it forced the emergency brakes? Yes. Then we're trapped. Shashank, the retired guard, shook his head. No. Not trapped. Not yet. He pointed toward the emergency exit between compartments. We can move. But we need to know what we're running from. The creature reveals itself. A low, guttural growl echoed from outside. Not human, not animal. Something in between. The metal wall dented again, this time deeper. A long, claw-like scrape dragged across the exterior of the train. Screech! Everyone covered their ears. Samir whispered, "It's marking the train." Vikram corrected him. "No, it's testing it." Another slam. Harder. The compartment shook. Dust fell from the ceiling. The lights dimmed to a faint pulse. The vial's purpose. Arjun pointed at the shimmering vial inside the briefcase. "You said this can stop it. How?" Vikram hesitated, then spoke. "This vial contains a counteragent, a biological suppressant. The creature was engineered in a lab, part animal, part synthetic organism. This liquid disrupts its neural pathways." Nisha frowned. "So it's like a tranquilizer?" "No. It's more like a shutdown switch." Kavita's eyes widened. "Then why don't we use it?" Vikram shook his head. "It only works if injected directly into the creature. And to do that?" He looked at the dented wall. "Someone has to get close." Silence. Heavy. Terrifying. Real. The missing passenger's fate. A sudden thud hit the roof. Everyone looked up. Another thud. Then a dragging sound. Something was crawling on top of the train. Nisha whispered, "Oh God, is that the missing man?" Vikram's expression hardened. "No, that's the creature." Shashank muttered, "It's searching for a weak spot." Samir whimpered, "Why us? Why this train?" Vikram answered quietly, "Because the missing passenger wasn't taken randomly." Arjun turned to him. "What do you mean?" Vikram exhaled. "The creature is tracking the vial. It can sense it. That's why it attacked the other compartment first, looking for it." Kavita gasped. "So the man who disappeared, he died because of this?" Vikram nodded slowly. And if we don't move soon, we'll be next. The train gives its final warning. The lights flickered one last time, then went out completely. Pitch black. A moment later, the emergency red lights kicked in, bathing the compartment in a blood-colored glow. The creature roared, a deep vibrating sound that shook the windows. Shashank shouted, "Everyone to the next compartment, now!" Arjun grabbed Nisha's hand. Samir grabbed his bag. Kavita clutched her purse. Vikram grabbed the briefcase and the vial. They ran toward the connecting door. But before they could reach it, the roof above them dented inward. A massive clawed limb punched through the metal. Sparks flew. Screams erupted. The creature was breaking in. Vikram shouted, "Run! It's inside the train." Chapter 8. The Escape. The roof buckled inward as the creature's claw tore through the metal. Sparks rained down. The compartment filled with the sound of ripping steel. There was no time left. Shashank shouted over the chaos, "Move! To the next compartment! Now!" The passengers scrambled toward the connecting door as the creature's limb thrashed above them, denting the ceiling deeper with every strike. The dash through the red-lit compartment. The emergency red lights flickered, casting long shadows that made everything look worse, like the train was bleeding. Arjun shoved the connecting door open. Nisha followed, gripping the emergency hammer. Samir clutched his bag of cash. Kavita held her purse like it was her last memory of home. Vikram kept the briefcase and vial close to his chest. Behind them, the creature roared, a deep vibrating sound that shook the windows. The roof tore open another inch. They had seconds. The next compartment. They stumbled into the adjoining coach and froze. Because the compartment was empty, completely empty. No passengers, no luggage, no signs of struggle. Just silence, and a single smear of dark, wet streaks across the floor. Nisha whispered, "Blood." Samir shook his head. "No, it's too dark, too thick." Shashank knelt, touched it, sniffed. His face went pale. "This isn't blood." Arjun asked, "Then what is it?" Shashank stood slowly. "Lubricant, from the train's roof panels." "Why would that be inside the compartment?" Shashank looked up. "Because something dragged a man through the roof." The creature follows. A loud metallic crash echoed behind them. The creature had dropped into the previous compartment. They heard its claws scraping the floor. Sniffing. Searching. Kavita whispered, "It's coming." Vikram grabbed her arm. "We need to move. Now." They ran toward the next connecting door, but it was jammed. Arjun pulled. Shashank pushed. Samir kicked it. Nothing. Behind them, the creature roared again. Closer now. Much closer. The emergency ladder. Nisha spotted something. The emergency ladder. A small hatch in the ceiling, leading to the roof. Arjun shook his head. "We can't go up. It's up there." Vikram corrected him. "It was up there. Now it's inside." A loud thud confirmed it. The creature slammed into the connecting door behind them, denting it inward. They had seconds. Nisha grabbed the ladder handle and yanked it down. Climb. The roof of the train. Arjun went first, pulling himself onto the roof. The night air hit him like ice. The world outside was pitch black. No lights, no houses, no sound except the distant hum of the city far behind them. One by one, the others climbed up. Samir, Kavita, Nisha, Shashank. Vikram came last, dragging the briefcase with him. Below them, the creature slammed into the compartment again. The train shook. Arjun whispered, "We need to move across the roof, toward the engine." Shashank nodded. "If we reach the motorman's cabin, we can restart the train manually." Samir gulped. "But what if the creature comes up again?" Vikram answered, "It will." Crossing the roof. They began moving across the roof, balancing on the narrow metal ridges. The wind howled. The train creaked. The darkness felt alive. Halfway across the coach, Kavita slipped. Arjun grabbed her hand just in time. Careful, she nodded, trembling. Behind them, the compartment roof tore open, and the creature's silhouette rose into view. Tall, twisted, wrong. Its eyes glowed faintly blue, the same color as the blinking light on the tracker. Samir whispered, "It's tracking the vial." Vikram clutched the briefcase tighter. The creature roared, and then it leaped onto the roof. The chase begins. The roof shook violently as the creature landed. Metal groaned, sparks flew. The passengers screamed. Arjun shouted, "Run!" They sprinted across the roof, slipping, stumbling, grabbing each other to stay upright. The creature followed, fast, powerful, relentless. Its claws scraped the metal, sending sparks into the night. Nisha yelled, "It's gaining on us!" Shashank shouted, "Jump to the next coach!" Arjun leaped first, landing hard on the next roof. Samir followed, then Nisha, then Kavita. Shashank jumped, barely making it. Vikram hesitated. The creature roared behind him. Arjun shouted, "Vikram, jump!" Vikram clutched the briefcase and jumped. He landed, but the briefcase slipped from his hand. It skidded across the roof, stopped at the edge, teetered, and fell, down into the darkness below. Vikram screamed, "No!" The creature roared in triumph, because now the vial was no longer with them. It was on the tracks, and the creature leaped down after it. Chapter 8. The Escape. The roof buckled inward as the creature's claw tore through the metal. Sparks rained down. The compartment filled with the sound of ripping steel. There was no time left. Shashank shouted over the chaos, "Move! To the next compartment! Now!" The passengers scrambled toward the connecting door as the creature's limb thrashed above them, denting the ceiling deeper with every strike. The dash through the red-lit compartment. The emergency red lights flickered, casting long shadows that made everything look worse, like the train was bleeding. Arjun shoved the connecting door open. Nisha followed, gripping the emergency hammer. Samir clutched his bag of cash. Kavita held her purse like it was her last memory of home. Vikram kept the briefcase and vial close to his chest. Behind them, the creature roared, a deep vibrating sound that shook the windows. The roof tore open another inch. They had seconds. The next compartment. They stumbled into the adjoining coach and froze. Because the compartment was empty, completely empty. No passengers, no luggage, no signs of struggle. Just silence, and a single smear of dark, wet streaks across the floor. Nisha whispered, "Blood." Samir shook his head. "No, it's too dark, too thick." Shashank knelt, touched it, sniffed. His face went pale. "This isn't blood." Arjun asked, "Then what is it?" Shashank stood slowly. "Lubricant, from the train's roof panels." "Why would that be inside the compartment?" Shashank looked up. "Because something dragged a man through the roof." The creature follows. A loud metallic crash echoed behind them. The creature had dropped into the previous compartment. They heard its claws scraping the floor, sniffing, searching. Kavita whispered, "It's coming." Vikram grabbed her arm. "We need to move, now." They ran toward the next connecting door, but it was jammed. Arjun pulled. Shashank pushed. Samir kicked it. Nothing. Behind them, the creature roared again. Closer now. Much closer. The emergency ladder. Nisha spotted something. The emergency ladder. A small hatch in the ceiling, leading to the roof. Arjun shook his head. "We can't go up. It's up there." Vikram corrected him. "It was up there. Now it's inside." A loud thud confirmed it. The creature slammed into the connecting door behind them, denting it inward. They had seconds. Nisha grabbed the ladder handle and yanked it down. Climb. The roof of the train. Arjun went first, pulling himself onto the roof. The night air hit him like ice. The world outside was pitch black. No lights, no houses, No sound except the distant hum of the city far behind them. One by one, the others climbed up. Samir, Kavita, Nisha, Shashank. Vikram came last, dragging the briefcase with him. Below them, the creature slammed into the compartment again. The train shook. Arjun whispered, "We need to move across the roof, toward the engine." Shashank nodded. "If we reach the motorman's cabin, we can restart the train manually." Samir gulped. "But what if the creature comes up again?" Vikram answered, "It will." Crossing the roof, they began moving across the roof, balancing on the narrow metal ridges. The wind howled, the train creaked, the darkness felt alive. Halfway across the coach, Kavita slipped. Arjun grabbed her hand just in time. "Careful," she nodded, trembling. Behind them, the compartment roof tore open, and the creature's silhouette rose into view. Tall, twisted, wrong. Its eyes glowed faintly blue, the same color as the blinking light on the tracker. Samir whispered, "It's tracking the vial." Vikram clutched the briefcase tighter. The creature roared, and then it leaped onto the roof. The chase begins. The roof shook violently as the creature landed. Metal groaned, sparks flew. The passengers screamed. Arjun shouted, "Run!" They sprinted across the roof, slipping, stumbling, grabbing each other to stay upright. The creature followed, fast, powerful, relentless. Its claws scraped the metal, sending sparks into the night. Nisha yelled, "It's gaining on us!" Shashank shouted, "Jump to the next coach!" Arjun leaped first, landing hard on the next roof. Samir followed, then Nisha, then Kavita. Shashank jumped, barely making it. Vikram hesitated. The creature roared behind him. Arjun shouted, "Vikram, jump!" Vikram clutched the briefcase and jumped. He landed, but the briefcase slipped from his hand. It skidded across the roof, stopped at the edge, teetered, and fell, down into the darkness below. Vikram screamed, "No!" The creature roared in triumph, because now the vial was no longer with them. It was on the tracks, and the creature leaped down after it.